Alright guys, we're back in business here with a Kislev vs Bretonnia showdown. It's going to be myself on Kislev facing off against Anticity here on Bretonnia. And it is going to be a Cav duel, I promise you. I just didn't start with him in my army, but I do have quite a bit of Cav in reserves. So let's go ahead and take a look at these builds and break it down. So we do have an Ice Witch of Tempest. Good Blizzard spells. I felt like the slowing spells would be okay against Bretonnia, but for the most part, using things like Blizzard on blobbed up Cav or the Hailstorm on like Peasant Archers, Foot Squires, Halberds, whatever, would be very effective. So I decided to go with the Lore of Tempest, and she also can summon the Capture Cat, which they did get their capture weight nerfed a little bit, but still are pretty good at snaking points and things like that. Now, for our army, we do have Streltsy, and I feel like Streltsy will be kind of a sleeper powerhouse unit in this matchup. They have great weapon capabilities in melee, so if they're fighting against, let's say, the Winged Lancers or the Griffin Legion, I think they'll be trading pretty favorably. But against, Questing Knights, they might struggle a little bit. And that really is the thing. Questing Knights are a unit that is just so good against Kislev, right? Most of the Kislev armory is armored. They don't really have like a traditional halberd unit outside of the Ice Guard, who do have halberds back here. So the Ice Guard with glaives. And we do have our anti-large cav that can deal with them, but they're quite a bit more expensive, right? So we really have to rely on our shooting to deal with them. Now, aside from that, we got 4 Streltsy, 2 Zargard in the front. Bretonnia probably going to be struggling to deal with these lead infantry. And, in my testing, they actually held up pretty well against most of the Bretonian Cavs. So I was like, let's get these bad boys. Let's just slap them on objectives and just let Bretonnia deal with them. And Fae Enchantress, of course, can Mortis Engine them, but if she's not around, man, oh man, they are beast mode for sure. Ice Witch of Tempest, single Chariot, and the Ice Guard with glaives in the back. I was like, let's try them out. Let's see how they do. They got halberds, which isn't bad. They also, of course, do apply frostbite, so they can slow down big, expensive pieces, and that is it. Now for the forces here of the Kraken King, we can do a little bit of fast forwarding in a minute to get the game going for you guys. We got Fae Double Paladin, so the classic sweaty Bretonian build. And yeah, what's not to like about this, right? Like, you're probably going to be expecting Cav from Kislev, like Bear Cav and things like that. But, the Double Paladins are just so sticky and tough to get rid of. And of course, if I'm going to be spamming Capture Cats to try and goon the Fae Enchantress, you're going to want Paladins to deal with that. Double Peasant Archer, Mass Questing Knights, no surprises, and a bunch of filthy peasants are going to be moving out. Now, peasants do have the expendable trait, which means that their capture weight isn't going to be quite as good as, normal infantry. So this applies to all the men-at-arms as well. It's very interesting, but, a lot of people might be crying woe for old Bretonnia here, but don't worry about it, because Bretonnia is actually in good shape, because Cav got capture weight, and obviously they're the king of Cav. So Questing Knights, Peasant Horsemen, or Yeoman Horsemen, like all that stuff is really good at capturing objectives, and you have Battle Pilgrims, Foot Squires, whatever. So don't you worry about it too much. Now, scooting up here, and I get 2 Capture Cats coming out. I saw the Fae Enchantress, and I was like, I have to have something to deal with this, so the Snow Leopards are going to be popping out. Meanwhile, Bretonnia is going to be moving down to the bottom objective with some Knights Errant as well as a Peasant Mob. And, even though peasants do have pretty crappy capture weight, just being able to send like a 100 gold unit to put some pressure on an objective here is very good. And let's say I came in with my own Cav to try and win this fight. Well, suddenly he has a buffer and I don't. And all that buffer cost him was 100 gold and also get some capture weight. So there's a lot of cool nuances to that for sure. Now right here, we do see the Streltsy, so we get 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in a little bit of a box formation here. 1 up front as well. The Bretonians just kind of squaring up their Questing Knights, and I am going to be pushing into his deployment zone, trying to bully him a little bit, because I didn't feel confident with the Objective 3 here. I felt like he was going to get that one, so I was like, okay, let's move up and see if we can put a little bit of weight here on Bretonnia. Most of our reinforcements, we already have our infantry corps, so the troops that we will be summoning in will be very speedy here in the back. So 2 does go to us. 1 is going to be going to Bretonnia, who this is such a nice positioning, and this is something I've seen Anticity do, and I do it in my games as well with Empire, is you posture your knights like right here to threaten both sides, and it's very tricky to kind of react to that. Now, Peasant Archer is going to be shooting into the Zargard here, so Zargard not having a great time. We are going to be dropping Hailstorm on these guys in just a second. And the guns will be up in just a moment. So here comes the Ice Witch, and here comes the Hailstorm. So it's not a bad spell. It's very cheap. So we just pop it on them, and nobody expects their haggard Peasant Archers to get bombarded. So it's a little bit of damage. I don't know if it was worth, but in the end, felt good to get a little bit of a shoot back at them here. So here comes the big fight. We do have the Zargard moving up on the point to try and threaten that, and they have really good capture weight, obviously being infantry that are not expendable. Also, the Streltsy are up on the point. So now you can see with our positioning, we actually have threatened the capture on this objective. So Bretonnia is going to have to fight for this. They're going to have to move up, and we do see the Questing Knights moving in. And on the bottom side, we see a big flank. So Companions of Quenelles and the Knights Errant, and we get the Capture Cats and the Chariots and all those other units going to intercept. In the meantime, Peasants do eat some shots to the face, but we immediately will be switching our fire onto the Questing Knights. So these shots from the Streltsy unleashing some fiendish powder, hopefully, here in a second against these Knights. We will have to see. And Bretonnia has thwarted the capture weight, as those Knights are getting hammered pretty good by the Streltsy. And this is where we get to kind of test their durability. Also, the Ice Guard with glaives are shooting in. applying a little bit of frostbite, and the Zargard probably should have engaged a little bit earlier, but the Streltsy do get charged by some of the cav units. Meanwhile, we got just scrappy engagements all over the battlefield. Down here, there's going to be some sort of witchcraft going down. I believe that is my Blizzard spell, so here comes the Blizzard right on top of the expensive companions, and big damage coming in. It does kind of melt my Kislev dervishes, but I was okay with that, as long as we take out a 1,500 gold unit. So when this happened, we immediately went up in trading value by a lot, because this is like a 1,500 gold unit that got absolutely crumped by the Snow Leopards as well as the Blizzard, and we get the Griffin Legion coming in as well. So the Griffin Legion going to be charging into the Questing Knights. Not a beautiful fight for us, since they are kind of in armor-piercing variant, but overall, like, I was pretty happy with the early engagements we had. Like, 2 of his very expensive cav units got hammered, but he did get the advantage over here. You know, you can't win all over the place. So Streltsy, not bad trading against Questing Knights with the Zargard backing him up. The other Streltsy are going to be pulling back, so too are the Ice Guard Glaives. And these Streltsy in the front, due to the OP Kislev Unbreakable trait, are able to kind of sacrifice themselves to Urson, and they are holding back the Fey Enchantress and a Questing Knight block. So far, pretty even trading. The objectives on the low ground are going to be going to us, because he did lose his fight over here. Therefore, our brave Kislev dervishes down there were able to secure the objective. And now Bretonnia is getting a bit of a second win, pushing me back here with these Quest Knights. And the Paladin should be very, very good against the War Sleds. Here, the Zargard, just absolute linebackers, so we will be moving in to try and take this objective. And the other Zargard unit, I'm not sure where they went. Yeah, they're still fighting up here. They are unbreakable right now, but a beautiful rear charge coming in from Anticity here is going to be jumping on the Quest Knights, and a little bit of a full surround going down. So yeah, a lot of armor piercing coming in. If you guys are looking to play Bretonnia against Kislev, man, you just pack Questing Knights for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. They are going to be giving the business. Now, a little bombardment going down here. The Hailstorm, certainly not bad. I think Lord of Tempest is probably the way to go. Heart of Winter is okay, but not on a big map like this. I feel like if you're playing like a more choke point style map, it's going to be slightly better. But now Bretonnia is coming for blood. They're looking to push back on our objective here. As far as the value trading goes, hopefully Creative Assembly will add the ability to just see value. We were very even at this point. I think like maybe I had like a 500 value lead, but it was just like dead even, like razor close, back and forth, and we do get the bottom objective. So he is up by about 800 points, and we are threatening the back cap here. So the Zargard are moving on. We get the Zargard coming over here, and like I told you guys in the beginning, the durability of these units is just so darn good. These Streltsy going to be shooting downtown into the Peasant Bowmen with the Pox arrows, I believe, but even still, there's 70 armor keeping them alive, and yeah, Kislev dervishes backing the boys up, and we do have the double cap here, so we might actually be able to get a triple cap on Bretonnia, which would be very, very big for sure. Now, one thing you have to watch out for, if you start, and I've noticed, I don't know if it's like just a playstyle difference that people have been doing. Of course, I haven't been able to play against too many different people. The thing is, pretty much every single replay that you guys are seeing here on the channel is either against Anticity, Dov, or yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are the only folks I've been playing with so far. You know, a couple of the other folks are in different time zones, so it's mainly just been against those two. But people's value trading seems to be more of a thing in domination now. And I found that if I go a little bit too crazy on playing the objective game and you lose out on value, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like kind of a paradigm shift here, but nonetheless, the Ice Witch is a little bit trapped up. Paladin and Questing Knights are here, as well as the other Paladin. We do get a Snow Leopard from the reserves going after the Fey Enchantress, and the Winged Lancers do kind of reset their charge, and they are able to break these Questing Knights. So, you know, the Shock Cav of Kislev has really good charge bonuses, so even though they're not like great against armored cav, they still on the charge can put a little bit of hurt on them. Like you saw earlier, the Griffin Legion did very well for us, and I certainly can't complain. But we do have a triple cap, but he's got plenty of time to get this back. He was ahead by about 800 to 1,000 points, and now it looks like the backside objective is going to be threatened. So what do we have moving down here? Knights Errant. Backed up by Peasant Bowmen, certainly quite nice, and my poor dervish is going to be sacrificed as these Knights Errant are going to be couching there. Do they have lances? I think they do, right? Yeah, they got the big lances, baby. Here they come. Beautiful charge into the back of the horsemen, and they will pay the troll toll. So they are down for the count. Very, very nice charge there by the Kraken King. And I'm going to be just trying to buy time on this objective. So I'm just trying to milk the points. And this is what I'm talking about here. Instead of like bringing in the Kislev dervishes up to the high ground to clean up these archers and really like win the trading here, I'm kind of throwing them away to play the points a little bit, which I did notice at this point in the game that I was starting to fall behind in value. There was kind of a couple plays like that. Also, it's partially due to the fact that the Fey Enchantress has been getting some good Mortis Engine effects. And I keep throwing in these cav to try and secure my back point, and her Mortis Engines are cackling in the deep. Now, one thing that's going very well here, Zargard are just absolute chads on this objective, just holding. They got those shields, so against the peasant archers, they're super resilient, and they're just cutting through these guys like butter. And the capture weight of infantry, I believe, is 4, and the capture weight of chaff units is 3, essentially. And of course, it is based on the model count. So it would take 2 peasant spears to out-capture 1 Zargard, which I think is fair. I think that's good. Things like, it's really stupid if like a Chosen gets out-capped by like a Skaven slave who has slightly more models, right? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Anyways, Chalice of Potion's going to be going down. Mortis Engine doing excellent work. And the Questing Knights, oh, Grail Knights. Oh, man, the Grail Knights of Bretonnia. 800 value here. Chalice of Potion's thankfully taking out some of the fellow Grail Knights, so have to thank the lady for that one. But the defenders are here. Bretonnia is going to be pressuring the back objective, and you'll notice that I've started to slip in value a little bit. So I'm desperately kind of throwing these chaff units at the objectives to just hold them a little bit longer. So at this point, I was like, okay, I've had a triple cap on him for a long time. We still have the bottom objective. Let's play a little bit of Helm's Deep. I have enough at this point to win on one objective, so I'm going to be throwing the top objective here to the Bretonians. I've stopped defending it, not going to be summoning out any more troops, and now we're starting to really see the value of the Bretonian Cav, right? The Bretonian Cav is trading just excellent here against my Kislev Cav. Now, my Kislev Cav units are very good, but against Bretonian Questing Knights and, you know, Grail Knights and things like that, they don't trade super well because they lack armor piercing. So it's pretty cool to see, like, the nuances. Like, in general, I think Kislev Shot Cav, Winged Lancers, Griffin Legion are a little bit better against, like, infantry, right? Like, clearing out, like, infantry. Whereas, like, the cheaper Bretonian Cav, like Knights Errant, aren't quite as good as Winged Lancers. Yeomen aren't quite as good as Dervishes. But when it comes to the more, like, Cav-on-Cav action, it seems like Bretonnia still has the advantage there. Now, here we're going to be dropping some Witchcraft. We got a nicely timed Hailstorm, which did hit both of those units. So the Peasant Bowmen and all these bad boys are going to be broken. And we get a big old Alpha Strike charge in. We're pulling in some Streltsy just to hold the objective. Most of my other infantry were still kind of busy here. But the Zargard finally loses objective. Dude, talk about Value City, man. These Zargard have just been super good this entire game. And they're holding on like it's nobody's business. Can't complain, man. They certainly have done Urson. The bear is watching knowingly. He's just all smug and happy. He's like, those are my boys right there. They're doing a great job. More Questing Knights coming in, the scourge of Kislev, it would seem, as we do charge into the Kosovo Dervishes. And here we have the Ice Witch pulling back to the objective now. The big Goon Squad is on its way over. So we get the Paladin. We do also get the remnants of the Grail Knights. Very low in numbers, but even still, they're extremely elite. And I believe a lot of Cav units have had a bit of a stat up here. So I know this objective's lost. I'm like, screw this. I'm going home. I don't want any of this. My Ice Witch is going to be trying to get away. Granted, she probably will be caught. And I have one last gambit here. I do have a Snow Leopard that I was thinking about holding this point. I'm only a couple hundred points away from winning. Like, my score almost doubles his. So what we're going to be doing is actually moving to objective 2 and just bouncing back and forth using our Dervishes. And another Snow Leopard's going to be coming out. I believe they slightly out-capture the expendable infantry. I'm not sure. But the Ice Witch is caught, and these Dervishes will try and hold them at bay, while the Streltsy are going to be putting some firepower into the elite Bretonian Cav. Very scrappy fight. And look at this, guys. They didn't hear no bell, man. The Zargard are back on the objective. And they're going to be trying to capture that once again. I'm sure that's been an absolute nightmare here for the Bretonians. Like, these linebackers, these Arnolds, just holding this objective and really making it super difficult. Like, these Knights Errant going to have to fight them now. If we capture this objective, we basically win the game. So going all in on this, baby. We got the Kosovite Dervishes, we got the Capture Cats. We still have the capture weight advantage. Cav did get a buff, so they're pretty good. They can actually outcap these expendable infantry. But the peasant archers, just the haggard, unwashed hordes of Bretonnia, are moving on to the point. They are able to get the advantage there. But over here, the Zargard are actually holding and beating down these Knights Errant a little bit, grinding them down. I believe the capture weight still is in the favor of Bretonnia here, but Bretonnia is certainly not out of danger yet. Another Cav unit moving in, and we're going to be trying to get a massive collapse here on these peasants, get a big rout off the objective. Knights Errant are on their way back up, and the bottom objective firmly in the control of Bretonnia. Whereas down here, we do see the Streltsy doing a great job. I mean, occupying the Fey Enchantress, Grail Knights, and Paladins. I mean, talk about Value City. Because we're very close to capturing it. And guys, like I said, if we get this, there's pretty much no way he would be able to capture it back in time. We would be able to just pour units on from our home field objectives and probably get this. Also, the Zargard are still holding this one. Questing Knights are coming in to clean them off, which is a very good play. And unfortunately, though, we're not getting any points right now. And he's getting very close to catching up in points. We're going for it. We got the capture weight. Knights Errant are on their way in. Also, the Questing Knights going to be pouring in. And if they get there, that's going to be a little bit unfortunate because, again, they do have decent capture weight. And, guys, with that, he does get the capture weight on us. We couldn't quite break the peasants off. And that, my friends, is going to be the last hold of Kislev. So, GG, well played. That was a super fun match. Overall, you know, I think that match could have gone either way. Like, the value trading was even. I think we got slightly better trades early. He had a nice kind of counter push. I think I allocated too many resources to the bottom objective. I should have thrown that away and focused on value trading in the middle and holding those two objectives. Because I had all three. What ended up happening is I split myself a little bit too thin. And he was able to take advantage of it with his superior Cav. Whereas we had his home objective captured. We had our home objective captured. And we kept throwing like 1,200, 1,600 gold of just trash units at a side objective to try and, hold all three in a really greedy manner. So I learned a very good lesson today. But overall, this matchup is super fun. The Cav, it's very dynamic. And, honestly, I feel like Kislev is going to be fine into the old world Bretonnia. I think we'll take... I think they're going to be okay in some matchups. Depends on what they're facing. I mean, Enchantress is just freaky strong. You got a Mortis Engine on a stick that's super hard to snipe, and Questing Knights were really the MVPs there. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Certainly was a lot of fun. Well played to the Kraken King, and we'll certainly have a lot more replays between us. We've been playing a lot of games, getting a lot of practice, and I'm looking forward to competing in tournaments and whatnot when the Mortal Empire drops. I'm so excited. So lots of good stuff on the horizon, guys. Take care of yourselves, and we'll get the Bear Cabin next time, I can assure you. See you guys.